In this video, we are going to talk about the most misunderstood transit of Saturn. We are going to talk about Sade Sati. So keep watching. Namaste and welcome to Vedic Astrology channel. Today we are going to talk about Sade Sati. What is Sade Sati? Sade Sati is 7.5 years transit of Saturn. Sade Sati literally means the transit of Saturn 12th to your moon, over your moon, and second to your moon. Saturn takes 2.5 years to move through one sign to the other. Right now, Saturn just moved from the sign of Sagittarius to the sign of Capricorn on January 2020. By the way, we have also made a video on the transit of Saturn into Capricorn. You can go and watch that video as well. But Saturn takes 2.5 years to go through one sign. Suppose you have moon in the sign of Sagittarius. So when Saturn enters into the Scorpio, you get into the Sade Sati. Then Saturn moves to the Sagittarius. It is the second phase of Sade Sati for you. Then Saturn moves to the Capricorn. That will be the third phase of Sade Sati for you. So 2.5 plus 2.5, 5 plus 2.5, 7.5. So this becomes the Sade Sati for the Sagittarius people. Likewise, for all the moon sign, when Saturn goes 12th to their sign, it is the beginning of the Sade Sati. So Sade Sati is the toughest but most misunderstood transit of Saturn. This Sade Sati have a lot of negative connotations to it, but it is not always the case. Before we talk about Sade Sati in detail, what is Saturn? We have made several videos on Saturn. You can go and watch them. But to brief you about Saturn, Saturn is the negativity. Saturn is all about the negativity, scarcity, and the analytical mind, intelligence, restriction, age, time, death, longevity, and anything which is polar opposite to the Jupiterian qualities. Okay, so Jupiter is expansion, Saturn is restriction. Jupiter is positive, Saturn is restricting. Jupiter is about abundance, Saturn is about scarcity, and so on. So just go and watch the Jupiter videos or Saturn videos. You will have more idea about the energy of Saturn. Okay, and another thing is whether we should look this transit from moon or from the ascendant. I believe the most important position to look for is from moon, then the lagna, and then if you want to consider, you can consider the other ascendants as well. But the most important is moon. Why? Moon is the karaka of your mind. Your mind gives you opinions, desires, emotions, relativity, and all kinds of things which makes you to take decisions. And your decisions ultimately result into your destiny. You have a free will. Your free will, your choices creates your destiny. So moon becomes super important. And when the Saturn comes into the Sade Sati, or when a person gets into the Sade Sati, his mind is impacted by the Saturn. And now what happens with each placement, we'll look into this later in this video. We were talking about Saturn and moon and why we should use moon to consider this transit. If you want to consider the transit from the lagna, there are few important houses which you can consider. Like if the Saturn is moving through your ascendant or through the 4th house or through the 10th house, you can consider them, but the most important is your moon sign. Sade Sati is always considered from the moon sign. What happens when you have 12th Saturn? When Saturn comes into the 12th house of your horoscope, did I say horoscope? No, I mean to say 12th from your moon. In our example, we have taken the Sagittarius moon. Let's assume Saturn has just entered into the sign of Scorpio. It's the beginning of the Sade Sati for the Sagittarius people. From the 12th house, Saturn will aspect the second house with the third aspect, 6th house with the 7th aspect, and the 9th house with the 10th house aspect. So the first thing happens in the Sade Sati, the beginning of the Sade Sati, is travel. You won't believe this, like you will always feel that you will face some difficulties, but more importantly, Saturn will make you travel. But this travel won't be a pleasure travel, it would be a most, the long awaited obligatory travels which you have to take, which you were avoiding earlier. Now you have to take them. You have to take them, and it kind of separates you from your family. It separates you from your support system. It separates you from everybody who is willing to help you. Now you are on your own. It's like if you're working in an IT company, if you're working as an IT professional, you have to go on site. Sounds good, but you have just married and now you have to separate because your wife does not have visa. You are going on site, you are going to make money abroad, but you have to separate from your wife. Okay, that's how it works. This is just an example. Many people have many different scenarios wherein it will make you to travel for your duties and responsibilities. More than pleasure, it is more about the responsibilities and travel. And from the 12th house, Saturn is aspecting the second house of the horoscope. 12th house is about the travel, and second house is the house of the finances, is about the way you speak. So now Saturn is going to put check onto the second house of your resources, how you earn money. It will make you work to earn money. There won't be easy money. And when you are going into Sade Sati, you have just entered into Sade Sati. Before that, you were into this glorious period of Saturn in the 11th house. Saturn in the Lavasthan gives you everything. Like from the 11th house, Saturn aspects the first house and it will make you work but will give you gains. Now it is into the 12th house and is aspecting the second house of resources and finance. So it will make you work for money. From the 12th house, Saturn also aspects the 6th house of your work. The Saturn is into the sign, is into the house of exhaustion, is aspecting your day-to-day routine. Now this Saturn will exhaust you. It will make you stay late night and work because you see the opportunity and you are ready to strive for it. It will keep you awake in the night. It will make you work. Routine, hard work, continuous hard work can be seen with the 6th house. Result, exhaustion of energy. 12th house, lack of sleep. Next, when Saturn is transiting into the 12th from the moon, when you are into the first phase of your Sade Sati, Saturn aspects the 9th house of your horoscope. 9th house is the house of your belief systems. 9th house is the house of your guru. 9th house is the house of the long journeys again. See how things are placed in. Saturn is placed into the 12th house of losses, expenses and energy exhaustion. And it is aspecting the 9th house of your beliefs and your travel. So again, it will make you travel. It is not only placed into the 12th house of travel, but it is also aspecting the 9th house of your horoscope with its 10th aspect. So it will make you work, it will make you travel for your work and duties. This is the period which really gives you the challenge with respect to these three areas. Now when you move into the second phase of the Sade Sati, now Saturn is transiting over your moon. When Saturn is transiting over your moon, it will give you that mental pressure. From first house, from the moon, it is aspecting the third house, seventh house, and the 10th house. Third house is the house of self-effort. This Saturn will make you work, but this Saturn will also transform you personally. This is the time you will realize your mistakes, you will realize what you are supposed to do, because you have been through that 12th Saturn. During the 12th Saturn, you have experienced that burden on your finances. Now you are ready to take more effort. Now you are well directed. Now you are disciplined. Now this is the transformation of Saturn for you. The audit on your moon. It is allowing you to change yourself with your self-effort. From the first house, Saturn transiting over your moon is aspecting the 7th house and aspecting the 10th house. 7th house is the house of marriage, long-term relationships, more so your relationships with the outer world, your business relationships, your networking also can be seen with the 7th house. 7th house is also the house of foreign travels. The endings can also be seen with the 7th house. And when Saturn is aspecting the 10th house, it makes you work. It is also aspecting the 3rd house of your self-effort, and now it is also aspecting the 10th house of your work. So this Saturn will help you understand the importance of the work, the importance of the 10th house with the self-effort. Now move on to the next. When Saturn moves to the next Rashi from your moon, we are talking about the Sagittarius moon. Now let's assume that Saturn has moved to the sign of Capricorn. Now for the Sagittarius people, he will enter into the third phase of the Sade Sati. When Saturn goes to the second house of the horoscope, it aspects the 4th house of the horoscope, 8th house of the horoscope, and the 11th house of the horoscope. Saturn aspects the 4th house of the horoscope will make you work. Again, you have to be careful with your sleeping patterns, because this Saturn is going to make you work late night. It's going to make you work relentlessly towards your mission, because now you have been through 2 phases of Saturn's Sade Sati. Now you are into the last phase of the Sade Sati. From the second house, Saturn is aspecting the 8th house of the horoscope, which is about the joint asset with the partner, the mysticism, occult, and hidden things buried under the ground can also be signified by the 8th house. 8th house is the house of birth, death, and rebirths. It's about the ups and downs, it's about the transformations. And now you are also going through one of the transformation. You have been through these 2 phases of Sade Sati. Now you know what works for you, what you are supposed to do, and who is going to help you and who is not going to help you. And from the second house, it also aspects the 11th house. 11th house is the house of gains. 11th house is the house of the networking, the friends. So again, Saturn is restricting the second house and is aspecting and restricting the 11th house of the gains, networking, and friends. So even during this period, you will be focused towards your work and to have gains. Okay, so yes, this is the effect of Sade Sati. Now comes an important part. We often hear that few people have different experience. Few people feel that Sade Sati was the worst period of their life, and sometimes you feel that Sade Sati was the best period of your life. Why this happens? Why there is so much difference in the experience? So when we are judging the Sade Sati, first we have to look for other planets as well. So what we are going to consider, the first thing to consider is what is your natal planets. Apart from moon, we are talking about moon and the movement of Saturn along with it. We talked about the Sagittarius moon and Saturn coming into the sign of Scorpio. Okay, it is the beginning of the Sade Sati. But what if somebody has Venus there? What if somebody has Rahu there? What if somebody has Mars there? This will change the dynamics of that transit, right? And we also have to consider the placement, right? You may have a different ascendant. So according to the lordship, these planets have their own agenda in your chart. So when we are talking about Sade Sati, we cannot generalize it for everybody because it is specific. The first point we discussed is the other planets. What are the other planets into these three houses aspecting conjunct in your horoscope? Like you might have the Jupiter's aspect into your 12th house, or you have Jupiter into the 12th to your moon. And then Saturn is coming in. So this Jupiter is going to help you in this transit, is going to give you the deeper insights of the Saturn. This Jupiter is going to help you understand Saturn even more, because Jupiter is about wisdom. Okay, so the other planets makes the difference. Next is the transit of other major planets. The other important point to consider is movement of other planets. In our example, we are talking about the Sagittarius moon, and Saturn is entering into the sign of Scorpio, and it is the beginning of the Sade Sati. Okay, what if the person is having an exalted Jupiter into the 8th from the moon into the sign of Cancer, aspecting the Scorpio sign? And when Saturn comes into the Scorpio, it is under the divine protection of Jupiter. It is going to help that person in a different way. It is not same as somebody who has the difficult planets, difficult aspects into the 12th from the moon. Okay, the next thing is the transit of Rahu and Ketu. If Saturn is also getting aspect from the Rahu and Ketu in transit, I'm not talking about the natal chart now, I'm talking about the transit. Like right now for Sagittarius, Saturn has just come into the Scorpio and he has Rahu into the sign of Pisces, aspecting the sign of Scorpio. This will change the dynamics. What is the Lord of the Scorpio, Mars, is doing? What if Mars is also into the sign of Scorpio into the 12th house, or is exalted into the 2nd house? All these things will change the dynamics for the Sade Sati for each person. So we cannot generalize Sade Sati. We cannot say that I have Sade Sati, so it will be great, it will be bad. I would say I don't know, because I don't know your chart. I don't know what's happening in these three houses. I don't know what's happening with the lords of these three houses. I don't know the aspects of Jupiter, Rahu, Ketu, moon, not moon, but other planets onto these three houses. I don't know. So I cannot help you with this in a generic way. I have to deep dive and have to look for all these aspects with respect to the Sade Sati. Next thing to look for is the Ashtakvarga. The Sarvashtakvarga and the Ashtakvarga of the Saturn, and again the Kaksha slots, like all the planets are giving points to the Saturn. All these have to be considered before we can conclude on the Sade Sati. We can talk about Sade Sati. If you want to know how would be your period of Sade Sati, you have to look for all these periods. You have to look for all these aspects. If you just look at the 12th, 1st and 2nd from the moon, it won't help you. Okay, so next time when you will see people saying that I had a Sade Sati, I didn't feel like it, just go and check his moon and what's happening in these 3 houses. The most important thing to look for in a Sade Sati is the Mahadasha. You can have all the bad alignments with respect to the transits, but if you have a strong dasha of a Yoga Karaka planet, dasha of a planets involved into the Raj Yoga, any such kind of connection with the Mahadasha, even the Sade Sati will give you the best results. For example, let's take an example of Saturn's transit. You are going through the Sade Sati. Sade Sati is when Saturn is transiting 12th from your natal moon, is transiting over your natal moon, and when Saturn is transiting 2nd to your natal moon. This is called the Sade Sati period. These are the period of 7.5 years, Sade Sat years, which is considered to be the most challenging transit of Saturn. But I have seen people reaching to the highest position in government, in their career. They are experiencing all sorts of material gains, financial gains, abundance, expansion, everything in life, even during this transit. Why? Because they have the strong horoscope. They have planets well placed, in good dignity, with the strength and having the potential to give the best positive results. So even during the worst of the transits, they could survive. And that's why I always feel that it is very difficult when I make transit videos. It becomes very difficult to generalize the things because it is more of a personal experience. So always look for all these points before you can conclude on Sade Sati. Okay? And I believe that Sade Sati is the holy period which helps you to understand and identify the people who will help you, and also identify the fake friends, those who are afraid of your greatness, and those who want you to get drunk and do nothing and to fail. And it also helps you to understand and identify people who will help you in achieving the greatness, in being yourself and celebrating your success. You may not even feel like a friend until the Sade Sati, but once Saturn enters into the Sade Sati, you will start getting the insights. Then you will start getting the real truth about people. It just penetrates through the mask people wear. And that's why I call it as a holy period. The Saturn return and the Sade Sati are the most, I would say, rewarding period in your life. These periods will make you who you are, will define who you are. Because next time when you have any difficulty, you have already dealt with it during this period. Okay? So yes, this was Sade Sati as much as I could hold, grasp and share with you guys. If you have any question, add me on Instagram at Vedic Astrology. I read all the comments and I reply to almost all the comments. And if you have any question, add me on Instagram at Pramanic Astrology, or you can put them into the comment section of the YouTube comment section of any of the relevant videos. What to watch next? Go and watch Ascendants or Rising Sign series, or go and watch the Retrograde Planet series, and or go and watch How to Get Started into Vedic Astrology series, or just go to my YouTube page, go to the playlist page and start exploring the fascinating world of Vedic astrology. Sending you tons of positive energy, sending you high vibrations. See you in the next videos. Love and peace.